What up, HyperChange? Welcome to another episode of TLDR, your weekly recap for good news in the tech and finance space. Our first story this week is Elon Musk's SpaceX had a successful launch of its new Falcon Heavy rocket, an unbelievable validation of SpaceX's latest project. This gets us all one step closer going to Mars. And of course, the cargo on this initial test flight was Elon Musk's original cherry red Tesla Roadster. They live streamed the whole thing. It broke the internet. Just phenomenal footage of both of the rockets landing back down simultaneously as well, validating this whole reusable rocket thesis. So much could have gone wrong with this test launch, but it seemed to have gone right. Now Elon Musk's cherry red Roadster is headed toward the asteroid belt. Unbelievable free advertising for Tesla. Like, the Elon effect is truly unquantifiable. You know, millions of people around the world watching a Tesla get shot into space. Like, I couldn't think of anything more epic. This piece of news just made me so stoked because the entire vision of colonizing space and getting to other planets is now one step closer and more tangible. Second piece of news this week, the Wall Street Journal has reported that Amazon is launching a new service called SWA, or Shipping with Amazon. This is going to be a direct competitor to UPS and FedEx. The stock of both those companies were hit big as this news got announced. Amazon is becoming the post office and fast. They're launching the service in LA in a couple weeks. It's going to roll out more broadly across the US in 2018. This move seems to have been in the works for a while, as Amazon has been building out their own logistics and delivery capacity to augment FedEx and UPS, and now they're offering that service to consumers. So just a huge move for Amazon. This is a massive market for them to enter. If I was UPS and FedEx, I would be very, very scared. Next piece of news related to Amazon, Walmart is rumored to be buying a 15 to 20% stake in the e-commerce retailer in India, Flipkart. And this would value Flipkart at $20 billion plus. Flipkart is the leading market share company for e-commerce in India, which is a massive market. India is set to have the world's largest population in the next 10 or 20 years. Just a massive growth economy that a ton of companies are trying to get a piece of. It's no secret that Amazon has committed $5 billion to investing in e-commerce infrastructure in India because they see a really bright future here. Now it seems like Walmart is following them into this by investing heavily into Flipkart. Now this is still a rumored deal, but so it's not confirmed, but I just thought this was really interesting. Just yet another example of how Walmart and Amazon are going into the trenches head to head. Next piece of news this week, Dunkin Donuts is dropping its foam cups by 2020. Now this seems like a small piece of news, and I actually got a foam cup, market research here, one of the last ones. They will be phasing these out in the next 4 years. They said this can eliminate 1 billion styrofoam cups from the waste stream annually. This is awesome news for the environment. But then I was thinking, like, they're just pretty much replacing these with paper cups, which is great, but the entire pattern of just, you buy a coffee, you get a cup like this, you consume it, then you throw it out, is super wasteful. It seems like it would be so easy to implement some sort of reusable cup strategy. I don't know. So I kind of wanted to see if you guys have any ideas. How can these chains like Starbucks and Dunkin Donuts like get off cups? Sure, getting off styrofoam is amazing, and that's a great first step for Dunkin Donuts, but let's face it, they need to reinvent the whole system. Be really curious to know if you guys have any ideas on that. Next piece of news, Uber and Alphabet have settled their massive lawsuit for $245 million. This was related to when Uber bought the self-driving truck company Otto, which was started by a Google engineer, and this Google engineer apparently stole a bunch of trade secrets from Google that when Uber acquired the company was trying to get as well. This seemed like a pretty nasty case, and it's been going on for, you know, a long time, but they finally settled for $245 million. Uber paid them in stock in their own company, so this was equivalent to about 0.3% of Uber's entire net worth, and this valued Uber at about $72 billion, which was kind of in conflict to the previous valuation we had heard for Uber, which was a major write-down to $48 billion, so unclear where the true valuation is. Both companies have announced they continue to work together. Google was actually a much earlier investor in Uber, and so the companies are kind of partnered in a weird way. Google also has Waymo, so you know, they're weirdly competing and invested in each other. But anyway, the lawsuit has been solved. Next piece of news this week, earnings bonanza. Twitter reported an absurd quarter. Actually, user growth was flat and pretty disappointing in my opinion in terms of MAUs. They did report an increase in DAUs, but I'm not sure how much I buy that. But the financials were incredible. Now, if you take a look at this chart, I was estimating they were going to have, you know, revenue be down. That has been the trend this year, but they were going to be able to produce positive operating income of $30 million. They blew away those results. They actually grew revenue year over year by a couple percent, and operating income was positive $110 million. You know, the company is able to monetize its users better. They've been cutting a ton of costs, and this is showing up in the bottom line. I think Twitter's turnaround is going really well here, so just a phenomenal quarter for the company. NVIDIA, the next earnings this week that were just an absolute home run. The stock is up 10%, pretty much to all-time highs as I make this episode. Apparently they had really strong demand from cryptocurrency miners that drove growth, as well as the Nintendo Switch. Nvidia continues to be on fire. I'm gonna put out a more in-depth video with my current thoughts on Nvidia as a whole. That's gonna be coming out soon. In the HyperChange universe, I'm still giving away a free flamethrower. You can be entered by retweeting the special tweet right here. I'm gonna be announcing the winners next week. You can still enter until I announce the winners, probably later next week sometime, so stay tuned for that. One of you HyperChangers is getting a free flamethrower. There'll definitely be runner-up prizes as well. I'm not leaving you guys hanging, so make sure to enter in that if you haven't already. In terms of videos this week, I did an analysis of Apple's Q1 fiscal 18 earnings, just a phenomenal quarter for the company. Record revenue, record profit. What I thought was really fascinating with Apple is they've actually been selling less iPhones than last year, but made drastically more money as the average selling price goes up due to the iPhone X. We are literally seeing the evidence of Apple becoming a luxury company. Next video I put out was Model 3 is the best-selling electric car in January. This was reported by Inside EVs. None of the Tesla haters can report this. It beat Chevy Bolt sales by 59% in the month. Yes, the Model 3 is ramping. Yes, there's still all these production bottlenecks, but it's already the best-selling plug-in in the entire country by a wide margin. I only expect that gap to widen as sales ramp. Also put out a Moonshot Monday that I think Tesla should team up with the Boring Company to sell 100 limited edition Boring Roadsters for $1 million each, raise $100 million. This would fit the pattern of the crowdfunding raises the Boring Company has been doing. I think the Tesla Elon community would go crazy over these collectible Boring Edition Teslas. Put out a video on Tesla's Q4 earnings preview, just kind of walk through step by step what I was expecting in the earnings call. Also put out a video on Snap's earnings, which were just phenomenal. The stock was up 47% back to its IPO price after they reported user growth accelerated, revenue growth accelerated. They had 33% gross margins, by far the highest ever. They added more users than they ever have since Instagram Stories launched. So just a lot of things going well for Snap. Nobody was expecting this quarter, including me. So props to them. We'll see if they can keep it up. Then, of course, Tesla earnings came out, so I made a video analyzing the earnings and the conference call. It was a phenomenal quarter from Tesla. They're setting up into 2018, make or break year. They continue to expect to ramp Model 3 to 5,000 units per week by the end of Q2, and they actually guided to produce positive operating income by the end of 2018 as Model 3 ramps and hits 5,000 per week. This is huge news. This is what a lot of us Tesla bulls have been expecting. This is going to be the biggest inflection point in Tesla's business model since they've IPO'd, where they're gonna go from burning capital in their core business to producing capital in their core business. I am stoked about that, hoping it pulls through, but the gist of the story here is it's all about Model 3 ramping and doing it with the right gross margins. We'll see if they can pull it off. Then I put out a video, sort of conspiracy theory vibes, of why I think Bitcoin can go to $1 million per coin and why I think it should be looked at as a very early stage technology that is gonna rival central banks as a decentralized store of value inflation hedge, basically digital gold 2.0. Already got a ton of amazing comments on that video. Thank you guys so much, just critiquing my analysis, saying why the US dollar has a lot more backing it than just trust. And I learned a ton, so thank you guys for the comments. Keep those coming. You can check out that video if you want to learn more. Last thing I want to note, comment of the week on the Tesla earnings video, I believe it was Top 10 Tuesday, said something about me asking a question on the Tesla earnings call, which I want to do and I tried to do, but the phone number to ask a question wasn't everywhere. And so he had this idea where maybe we could make like a petition and try and get me to ask a question on the next Tesla earnings call if enough people email their IR team. I think we're going to set that up. Awesome idea. I love it. That's in the works for next quarter. Anyway, this is TLDR, your weekly recap for good news in the tech and finance space. I hope you guys have an epic weekend. I'll see you guys next time.